Could Elliot Ludwig be the prototype? Is it possible that Elliot Ludwig never actually died, but instead found a way to live on through the prototype? At first, it might sound far-fetched, but once I show you the evidence, you might start questioning everything you thought you knew. This entire theory hinges on one crucial fact. Elliot Ludwig is Poppy's father. It was subtly hinted at in Chapter 2, but not in the way you might expect. When Poppy gives us the train code to escape the factory, we follow her instructions, until she's kidnapped by Mommy Longlegs. She takes the train code, forcing us to complete 3 mini-games to get it back. After surviving all the games, she turns on us, but we manage to defeat her using the grinder. Once we free Poppy, her behavior changes dramatically. She seems different. Her speech is unsettling, as if she's holding something back. And when we board the train and enter the correct code, she suddenly changes the tracks and tells us we're too perfect to lose. You saved me. You're perfect. Too perfect to lose. I'm sorry. I can't let you leave. Poppy's cryptic dialogue in Chapter 2 doesn't explicitly confirm that she's Elliot's daughter, but the unused voice lines tell a different story. Data miners discovered an earlier version of the script, where Poppy states outright that she is the cause of all of this. Terrible things have happened, and I am the cause. She goes on to say that existing as a doll has led to countless deaths. This statement is huge. It suggests that her transformation into Poppy wasn't just an accident. But what does this have to do with Elliot Ludwig? In a tape found in Ludwig's office, a documentary mentions that Elliot lost a family member who was extremely close to him. The wording is important. If it were a distant relative, it wouldn't be noteworthy enough to mention. His wife? Unlikely. They divorced due to his obsessive work habits. His parents? Probably not. The language suggests someone younger. But a child? That makes perfect sense. In the 1960s, a family tragedy pushed Ludwig into his darkest days, but he poured himself into his work, continuing to build Playtime Co. It's possible that this tragedy involved the loss of his daughter, and that he, in his grief, attempted to bring her back through the Poppy experiment. Playtime Co. wasn't just a toy factory, it was heavily tied to orphan care. The Playcare facility must have cost hundreds of millions to build, with entire sections dedicated to raising children. If Elliot had adopted a daughter and later lost her, it would explain both his personal motivation and Playtime Co.'s focus on orphans. But here's where things get even weirder. In Chapter 4, there's a tape labeled Untitled. After escaping Doi and navigating the caves, we find it hidden behind a rock slide. In this tape, Poppy talks about the Hour of Joy, an event she knew was coming but never expected to be this horrific. She then says something chilling. If my dad were here, he would know what to say. When he ran this place, he always knew what to say. I miss you. This line alone confirms that her father ran Playtime Company, and the only person we know who ever ran Playtime Co. was Elliot Ludwig. This means Poppy is Ludwig's daughter, but if that's the case, then what does this have to do with Elliot Ludwig being the prototype? At the end of Chapter 4, we hear a phone call where the prototype speaks directly to Poppy. His words are unsettling. It has always been about what we are. It's time to come home, Poppy. He doesn't threaten to kill her, unlike us and Kissy. Instead, he tells her to come home and implies that she has been missing the point all along. This suggests a personal connection between them. If the prototype was just another experiment, why would he treat her differently? Unless, of course, he isn't just any experiment, he's her father. And then there's the radio report from Chapter 3, where authorities discover a child's body at Ludwig's estate. Despite Playtime Co.'s insistence on his innocence, neighbors describe him as secretive, often leaving at odd hours. If this report is true, then Ludwig wasn't just a grieving father. He was deeply involved in something sinister. This could explain his role in the Hour of Joy. The event resulted in the deaths of many scientists, yet the orphans were spared and kept in cryosleep, as confirmed by Poppy in Safe Haven. Ludwig may have orchestrated this massacre not out of cruelty, but to prevent further experimentation on the children. Yet, despite his apparent concern for them, he was still willing to experiment on others, including Catnap, whom he personally killed. Poppy clearly hates the prototype, but why does she still refer to her father with love? The answer lies in the nature of playtime Coe's experiments. Every transplant subject goes through an adjustment period, during which they become violent. The prototype was the first